Another day, another brew. Maybe, if I can get the airlock out of this Hermes coil. Today we are doing a Yeasty Boys clone of their digital IPA, but as you can see from here, we will get this airlock out. I need to bring this up to probably about 74, so I'm raising the temperature in the HLT, and then I'm sending just the strike water through the Hermes. Here we go, just about starting to come through. Lovely. We've got the airlock out of there. That's good. There's still a little bit of air coming through. That'll work its way out. So when this is up to about 70, I don't know, 74-ish, 75, 73, I don't know. I don't know. I'm making it up as I go along. It's quite warm in here today, so the grain down there, which we weighed out, probably isn't quite as cold as normal, so we'll see. Right, what's the grain bill? 2.48 kilos of Pilsner malt, 2 kilos of Vienna, is it? Yeah. And that's 2 kilos of Vienna, 2.48 Pilsner, and 210 grams of caramel. That's that. I'm going to give that a bit of a mix up, and then slowly, when that's up at temp, slowly start adding it and stirring it in. That's got a little way to go yet, so back when that's up at strike temp. But now I'm going to give that a little bit of a stirring mix. Bit of a slightly different viewpoint. You don't usually get the view from up here, but I'm stood on my thing, my little ladder stand, and we are going in now. I do this in 4 stages, and then give it a good old mix around. A bit of a discussion going on at the moment about stainless steel versus wooden, whatever these are called, paddles, I suppose. Wouldn't have thought that was a term that would have slipped my mind, but anyway, apparently wood scratches less, which is true. And if this was a nice shiny SS Brewtech mash tun, I would probably be using a plastic or wooden, but as it's as it's an old keg pulled out of a canal and cleaned up, I'm not sure I'm right bothered. The issue with scratching stainless steel is that you do increase the potential for corrosion, and it might need repassivating as a result. So anyway, I'm going to stop filming. I'm going to check my temp. Well, actually, we're not far off what we want to be, but I am going to bring that up to 67, and then we're going to mash this in for an hour. But I'm going to give it a bit more of a stir and then start the recirc going, which also then establishes kind of like the grain bed. So back when we've done that. It's one of the things I'm not particularly comfortable with, is that this is overshot, not massively, 7 degrees, so I'm going to set the PID to 66.5. It should hover around sort of like 67 then. But what I'm going to do is show you what a lovely day it is. Oh, must get this shutter sorted one day. I don't think it's going up quite level for some reason. Anyhow, not to take you too far off the point of brewing beer. We've got, I don't know, 55 minutes to go on there. Not a bad day. Shout out to Chris, Harry Brew 69. It's his 29th birthday today. No, really, it is. And he's going off camping or doing something or other. So in the comments down here, just put, you know, happy birthday, Harry Brew 69, and Delilah's waiting for you, mate. Don't worry, she'll still be ready for you. Gonna give this another couple of minutes and check the pH. Next time this cycle's around, I'll just take a little bit out, check the pH. We want it around 5.2, but I've got a little bit of lactic acid here ready just to drop it down should we need to. And then I'm not going to do much after that. I'm going to give it another little stir in a minute and then come back when mash is done. But first we do need to check that pH in us special pH testing. This is a nest of jugs, by the way. If you missed the last one, you can put ice water in there, and you put what you're going to sample in there. You nest them together, and then this cools this here, and then you can drop your test meter, your pH meter in there. Right, back when we're ready to do that then. Well, that's a bit unusual. I have a pH of 4.9. So by the magic of chemical sciences, a teaspoon, I've added a tiny little amount of bicarbonate of soda to what we've taken off. Going to give that a little whiz around. Only a tiny amount, didn't bother measuring it or anything, but a quarter of a teaspoon. By the way, I know, because I've been fastidiously testing using pH buffer 7 and 4, that this is an accurate thank you pH reading. So I'm going to bung a little bit of this in. Oops, sorry. Show you bunging a little bit of that in. Going to let it circulate, just a tiny little amount. Now I've dropped the temperature of the HLT, so it's not going to aggressively change the herms. This will gently warm, so it should keep this more around 67. But I'm now whooshing that around. I'm now going to, can't remember what that water was, but I should give it a couple more minutes. But I'm going to take a tiny little amount out and then bung it in this one. Ooh, to coolio down for a couple of minutes. Get in there, you fucker. Right. There's no point putting that in there just yet because that's far too hot. These are temperature compensated, but I still do like to drop it down to a reasonable temperature. What temperature is this in here at the moment? As it's just come out, it's yeah, up around 63.5. It should start dropping significantly now it's in that cold water, but I want to get it down to somewhere in the 20s before I take a proper pH reading. It's good for me, even though temperature's still quite high. As I say, these are temperature just turn itself off, thank you. These are temperature compensated, so I will let it go down a little more in temperature before taking another reading, but I think 5.2 for me, that's all right. I'm happy with that. And our temperatures are still kind of like bouncing around between 60 and 70.5, which I'm not massively happy with, so I think I might just end up upping the temperature in the HLT to compensate for that. We'll see how this goes. When this stops, we'll see how high that whacks up, but I'm not massively happy with that. One of the things which will obviously affect the ability of the PID to accurately calculate where it needs to be in terms of on-off, etc., of the pump is going to be how cold it is outside. And it hadn't occurred to me that it's quite a lot colder out there than I realised, so this should help stabilise the temperature a bit more. I'm not happy with the way this is bouncing around, very much not happy. So I'm bringing the temperature in the HLT up to 75, so the herms will then go through and it should warm it up a lot quicker. Yeah, well, you know, that's a consequence of me being a lazy person and not insulating me mash tun like I've kept meaning to. But I'm going to go for one of the SS BrewTech 20-gallon ones when they are back in stock, so that will then give me time just to insulate that at my leisure, rather than, you know, starting it and being halfway through and then worrying about how I'm going to clean it and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, right, so I'll let this come back up to temperature. This is now sort of like 2 degrees down on what I need it to be, which is not good at all. So we'll see how long it takes to come up. Down to 21 degrees, and it's teetering on 5.1, 5.2, so I'm alright with that. I'm okay with that. It flickers between the two, but that's still good for me. If I stir it around a little bit, bring the temperature up to about 24, still 5.1, 5.2. Good. Right. I'm now going to get to grips with, ouch, that's warm. Of course it's bloody warm. It's 76 degrees. I'm going to get my Sparge water down to about 5.2 as well, because I want to Sparge at 5.2. And that's probably going to involve chucking in quite a lot of lactic acid. We shall see. This is always that moment of truth. Have I? Oops. Have I got? Oh, beautiful. Except the dropper in this has ceased being a squeezable dropper. It seems to have gone quite hard on me. Wish I had said that. Yeah, so good. We got a good conversion going there. Not right, black. This is the bit. If you follow this channel, you will know that I change, instead of going from here either through the herms or through the sight glass for a vol-off, I implement this Heath Robinson spool tube, sanitary spool tube, and a couple of tri-clamp fittings, and this filters any grain that comes out of here into the whirlpool. Last time, absolutely nothing in there, which was a good thing. So let's see if we can replicate that this time. What I do is open that and open this a little bit. That's all, literally about that much, and then gently open this. Now the reason for that is what we want is a gradual siphon to go into. Look at all these jugs. I do like my jugs. Sometimes small jugs, small firm jugs like that. Sometimes I like me bigger jugs. But I mean, I have to say, if I've got to make a choice, it's little jugs that are best for me. And down there, you'll see as I open that valve on the pump, we will start to get a very gradual siphon going. Oops. Right, slightly better view. This is now tiny little trickle. I can even slow that down a little bit more. So this is now siphoning from the mash tun into the boil kettle, and we can let that go as slow as you like for as long as we like. And the point of letting it go slow is that it doesn't put any suction. There's no sucking on the grain bed, because we don't want any sucking on the bed. We want, do you know, sometimes it's so predictable, isn't it? Happy birthday, Harry Brew 69, by the way. I think I might have mentioned that earlier. Right, so coming back to no sucking on the bed, just a fairly gentle transfer going on here. That's good. And then we can start the Spaggio. So put that back on there. Have a little look in here. And again, whoops, God, all these jugs. Right, so we have now coming from the HLT into the pump, out of the pump, into the Hermes coil, because then it flushes the Hermes coil out, through the sight glass. So what we will see when we go through there is the colour change to start the Sparge. But I'm going to do this very, very gradually, and I'm going to throttle it on here because we want a nice slow. Let's get rid of some of these jugs. You know, I ain't got anywhere to put the bloody jugs. I'll run out of jug space. Look. Right. Wonderful bit of filming that, me moving jugs. What was I going to do? I was going to move that. I can't remember what I was going to... Yeah, I was going to do something like that, wasn't I? And now we're going to start a very slow Sparge. This Sparge is probably going to take 30 minutes, maybe. So, what we've got? That pump's on. Right, so that's gently now. Very gently transferring. Look at that. That's what we want. Slow. It's lunchtime. I need some pizza. Let's start this pump now going. Very much throttled back. Let's watch what goes through here. That will now start to clear. Yeah. Lovely. But I'm going to throttle this back even more, I think. Just a dribble at the moment until that grain bed goes down a little bit. Got my sight glass over here, so I think I'm going to go for probably about 27, and then that will boil down to about 22. But again, nice and gradual. In fact, I'm just going to let that grain bed just drop a little bit first, and then 30 odd minutes Sparge. But I'm going to go and pop a pizza in the oven first, then I'll come back when the Sparge is finished. This, as people who follow my nonsense will know, is me refilling the HLT for some warm cleaning up water. We're at 94.4. Almost coming up to the boil. So we'll let the hot break. The hot break is where it all foams up and leaves all that kind of, I don't know what you'd call it. It's almost like clay shit on the side. Bloody horrible stuff, and it's what gums up the hop filter. So this time we're using, crikey, look at this, more jugs. You can never have too many nice jugs in your life. So where should we put this? There for a second. So we'll let the hot break do its break. Move away a little bit so I don't steam the camera up too much. And then we'll have the first hop addition, which is 35 grams of Pacific Pearl. Fairly sure that's what it is. Let's get in there. 95 degrees. I'm not going to waste your time anymore. I'll come back when it's done it. We have a boil and a steamed up lens. So plonk that back now onto one element. That's good. I will then insert me basket. Now, oh crikey, it's a nice tight squeeze, that is. And first lot of hops, where do I put them? 60 minute hops, 35 grams Pacific Pearl. Never used these before. This brew uses 2 hops I've never used before. This is the first. Oh, and they're in. Right, start the timer. That's going to be about it now. I'm not going to do any more filming, probably until we're ready. So, yeah, you don't want to see me just chucking hops in, do you? So I'll come back at flame out and show you my ingenious idea for cooling it all down to about 80 degrees, ready for the flame out hop additions. Oh, that is beautiful. That smell, I wish YouTube was able to convey smell. Oh, what do you think, Delilah, darling? I think she thinks it's pucker. Right, back at flame out. We are there. We have reached flame out. Now, ideally, see, this is up at 98.1. So we need to get this down to 80 degrees as quickly as possible. So here's my idea. I've had the ice machine on all morning. So there is a big chunk of ice going in. And I've double bagged it just in case, because you can never really be totally sure that these bags won't leak. So that is now a big bag of ice straight, oh crikey, it's steaming up, straight into that hop filter, and we'll see how quickly that brings this down. It's not going to be sort of like instant. In fact, it's not being much at all. It will. Fucking better. Be right. Okay. Come on. Quickly. I'm going to give it 5 minutes. It's now 2 minutes to 2. 3 minutes past. Yep, 3 minutes past 2. 5 minutes, I've dropped it down to 81 point whatever, 3ish. 81.2. You going down any further? No. Right, final lot of, where's the hops? Here they are. Flame out hops. And this has actually got some leaf hop in because I couldn't get Southern Cross pellets. So I'm using leaf. It'll be interesting. Look at that. It's not often I use actual leaf. Temperature. Oh, can't really fault that, can you? Look, 5 minutes down to 80. Let's bung these in. Give them a little stir. Stirred, not shaken. And give that 30 minutes. So where are we now? 4 minutes past. Say 2:35 ish. Good. And what did we end up with from the ice? We ended up with water. Looks like there should be a goldfish in there, doesn't it? Right, I think that's an idea that I shall replicate next time. 80.9. That's good. I'm all right with that. So 30 minutes steeping, or some might say whirlpooling, but it isn't. I'm just steeping. kept the temperature really well. We dropped it down to, what was it, 81, and it's now 73.3. So I'm quite pleased with the way that held. We are now coming out of here, going through my little Heath Robinson filter just to take out any grain or hop matter or whatever might get stuck up in there. Coming down through the pump, but the pump's not running. This is purely coming up back through the valve and little Y filter here, through the plate chiller, and then out into fermentation bucketitos, and it's taken it down to 16.3, which is all right. I'm good with that. In fact, I'll probably open it up a little bit more. I've restricted it. It's quite cold outside, so the cold water obviously going through the chiller is doing its job really well. Down to 16. I'll just show you what a difference it makes if I do open that up, and it goes through a little bit quicker. You watch, it's going to go down now, you little sod, aren't you? No, it's actually not going to do anything. Oh, thank you for going down. You should be going up. Come on, up. Oh, fuck you. Right, anyway, going through the blah 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 into the blah 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 thingy. What's it? Yes, all good, all nice and good. Yeah, it's gone up 0.1 degree. Thank you. 0.2. Come on, bit more, a little bit more. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think I'm going to get probably about 23 and a titch out of this by the time it's all gone through. I'm just going to let it do its stuff gently and slowly, and then I think I might end up having to carry it upstairs. I'm going to put it in fermentation fridge 4. It'll be alright in there. Good. Right, come back when it's ready to pitch the yeast, and that will be a bit of a surprising thing because I'm going to do something that people aren't used to me doing. Post boil gravity 105 2/3, a little bit down on the 105.6 that was expected, but I have slightly more. The reason I've got slightly more is because there's a lot of dry hops going in here. As you can see, this is already the kettle trub, so I'm going to have to prop it at the front so the kettle trub goes to the back. And something else different I'm doing with this, I haven't made a starter. I'm using, sat here in this jug of Star San, some dried yeast. This is US-05. Are you going to be kind and focus? You are, thank you. US-05, just the one pack. I'll have to bung that in there after I've Star Sans the scissors and my fingers. But I can only do that while I don't film. And we have the tilt, not the tilt, you know what I mean, the float, equivalent of tilt. I'm going to seal this all up. I've got a bottle, so I'm going to try and spill all this Star San over the top of the freezer. Living the dream, eh? You're watching a video of someone filling a bottle with Star San, and then bongered in F4. Hey, that is about that. So that's the bottle. That acts as an airlock blow off. And do you know, I just spent ages trying to clean this because it looks like it's dirty under there, but it's actually just the plastic and the way the plastic stops the light. I just thought it's filthy, but it's not. Yes, a couple of blocks under here, so the kettle trub as it settles, and then there's 2 lots of dry hopping to go in here. When the fermentation's finished, there's quite a large dry hop, and then 4 days after that there's a smaller dry hop, so it's double dry hopped, this digital IPA. Wow, it seems like it's been a long day. It's not though, it's only 3:30ish. But this is now ready. I'm now going to set the ink bird to 18 degrees, and then take the dog for a walk, cleaning out the kettle. I'll take the mash tun out in a bit. Charlotte can feed the ducks with the grain, and the HLT is coming up to temperature for giving everything a good old clean down. That's it for another brew day. I will be back to taste it, or actually to keg it and to dry hop it and all that sort of stuff. I don't know whether I'll bother boring you with all that. I might just make this a brew day video, because what I do need to do at some point is a tasting video of quite a few of the beers that we've got in the Keezer, which is, we have a couple of nice wheats. We've got a blackberry wheat and the raspberry wheat. I'm really carving this up because I want this fizzy as fuck. We've got the flower child, which I did a video on and a little taste on. I'm very, 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 very pleased with how close that has come out to the original, thanks to Will over at Cambridge Brewing Company in Boston. I've got the Respite Care New England IPA, which I brewed to save someone's life. Well, only in so much as that brewing that meant I didn't want to kill someone. Basic Czech Pilsner, just a very, this is actually a smash brew. It's purely Pilsner malt and Saz hops. That's it, and a Pilsner yeast. I'm not going to do the Juicy Lucy, done that before, or the raspberry. This one is going to be the Heady Topper. It's actually in here, I just haven't got me little chalk thing out. Heady Topper weighs in at 7.5%. That is almost cock on as well. And this is a clone of the Ithaca beer company, also in America, American Pale Ale called Flower Power, and that's bloody close as well, 7.5%. So I'll do a separate video on those. I might just call it a day for this video and say that's been the brew day for a clone of the Yeasty Boys digital IPA. Have a go at it. Hopefully it will turn out not right bad. So there you go. I'm just going to call the video that now, and I won't do any more because it's all done and dusted now. But I'll do another video of the tastings, including this one when this one's done as well. Right, I hope you've enjoyed this nonsense. I haven't managed to fuck anything up today, which has got to be a first. Mind you, there's still time. I haven't cleaned everything up yet. So if you've enjoyed this and you like this kind of rubbish, please consider subscribing. If you click the subscribe thing where it says subscribe, and then there's a little bell thing comes up. If you click that and then click all, it will notify you every time I post some rubbish. And I do, really, I do. I don't half post some rubbish. I'm going to do a couple of videos soon regarding these Lichtenbergs 10,000 volt wood burnings. But until then, boys and girls, stay safe, and happy birthday, Chris, over in Retford. Harry Brew 69. Leave in the comments below. Wish him happy birthday. Cheers. Bye.